Welcome to Your Tall But I'm Standing in Front of You, the podcast where two friends circling the drain of academia examine the cultural detritus of the 20th century. I'm Devin.
I'm Ethan.
And Ethan, I have really, really bad news.
I can't imagine any amount of news you're going to tell me that can be bad. I'm in such a great mood. We've got tickets to see Avatar 2, The Way of Water. It's going to be, I'm guessing, a tight, fun, action-packed 90 minutes. I'm excited.
Yeah, so I just looked up the duration of Avatar 2.
Right.
And after seeing this news, I thought we needed to do a little bit of like a pre-watch check-in to this episode.
Okay.
And so you are sitting down.
Yes.
I just want to let you know that Avatar 2, or Avatar 2W, is 3 hours and 12 minutes long.
Why?
I don't know. So I thought we should just spend some time trying to think about why that could possibly be the case. What do you think could possibly happen in this movie? Because my understanding of this movie is that it's just Avatar again, but with water stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So how could that possibly justify 3 hours and 12 minutes?
Well, I mean, think about all of the places on Pandora where you could possibly go. You have the tree.
Yeah.
The human base that's near the tree.
Okay.
When he's collecting all the tribes, he goes to the cliff people, doesn't he, in the first one?
There's a few different tribes. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming part of what this movie's going to do is flesh out some of those other tribes.
Great.
And I'm guessing we're going to get at least 45 minutes of just he's at the new tribe, just color, just sort of we're hanging out on Andor kind of vibes, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, how long do you think, prediction?
Sorry, did you call the planet Andor? The Disney series,
that's
the Star
in my
Wars
head because
series?
that's the new. What's the what? Yeah,
Pandora.
No, I was making a Star Wars reference.
Oh, okay.
What is the planet with the Ewoks?
That would be okay, we got Naboo. We got Tatooine.
We got to ride back to Naboo because Queen Amidala wanted to.
Endor.
Okay,
Not
Endor.
Come on.
All right, why are there two why they could name they know these planets are made up names, right? They could call it anything.
Listen, hey. We're recording this. Where are we recording this, Devin?
Delaware.
And you also, if you cross the border into Pennsylvania,
mm-hmm.
in what county will you be?
Oh, great point. Delaware County.
So
it's it's a Delco, Delaware.
Mm-hmm. Endor.
Chester is in Delaware County, not
mm-hmm.
Chester County. Mm-hmm. Endor. And that's realism. I like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Endor. I'm talking about with the part of a movie like that where they're just there's not a battle right now. We're just it's the calm between the battles kind of thing. I imagine we're gonna get a lot of that. But then my question for you is how long. So when it'll be interesting because we won't know at the time, especially because this movie's going to be so long, we're probably going to fall asleep at various points. But we won't know when it starts that we're in the final battle sequence. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Until it ends, and then retrospectively we'll be oh, that's when the final battle sequence started. How long do you think? The way the Marvel movies usually always end with a good 45-minute, big recreate 9/11 on screen moment.
Yeah.
What do you think? How long do you think this one's going to be?
Very.
Do you think it's going to cross an hour?
I could easily see that because editing doesn't exist anymore. So it's just and so here's I think what is perhaps leading to the length of the film overall and what will lead to a very long final battle. James Cameron loves water. That's his
true.
thing. That's
it's almost like he made Avatar 1 just to make this one.
Yeah.
He was I need to get all the non-water shit out of the way. So I can make a sequel entirely focused on
and he
water.
teases you. There's a waterfall in the first one. He's teasing you. There's the cliff people that live near the sea. But now, I mean, he can just go, hey, like, imagine all of the things in water he can show, the activities in water they can be doing. I can easily see how this eats up 3 hours and 12 minutes.
Do you think there's going to be a water polo scene?
There is no doubt in my mind that there will be a water sport.
There's some kind of like, there's going to be some kind of like Navi water sport.
Yes. And
Like,
they're
it'll
going to
be like a bonding of some kind.
Like it's called Naturu. It's where we link up and become, and we see each other.
Well, and keeping in the tradition of Jake Scully being the ultimate like white guy who's better at being the native coded person than the actual native coded people.
Yeah.
Like he will be like preternaturally good at whatever the water sport is.
No, he won't be, but his child.
Oh, his child.
His child will be the prodigy, is my prediction.
Yeah. He actually sucks at water basketball.
No, he'll probably be like, I could be good at it if I felt the need to take the time, but I simply want to let my child, this is going to be their space.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have some apprehensions about this length, but James Cameron's not having it.
No.
He does not want to hear our complaints. He was quoted by Empire, this is via people.com, as saying, quote, I don't want anybody whining about length when they sit and binge watch television, which is in brackets, so I'm really curious what he actually said, for 8 hours. It's like, give me a fucking break. I've watched my kids sit and do 5 one-hour episodes in a row. Here's the big social paradigm shift that has to happen. It's okay to get up and go pee.
So it's like there are meaningless moments to my movie.
Yeah. He's basically saying like, people need to get over the idea that you should see an entire film. This is kind of like, we talked about this on our original Avatar episode with J.D. Connor, right? But like the model to understand Avatar is not like capital C cinema in the like 20th century sense of like, like New Hollywood. It's like the traveling road show, the amusement park ride. You know?
Yeah.
Like so it's like the point is to be immersed in 3D water for 3 hours.
Right.
And who cares if you have to step away from it for a bit?
Right.
So I think we should try to give The Way of Water a chance at being that. We should try to accept it on its own terms. But I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I mean, here's the thing. If I'm binge watching 8 hours of television, I'm not doing it in 8 hours straight.
Right.
Like, I'm like going to the bathroom. I'm pausing it at various points. I'm taking my dog for a walk.
Yeah.
I do not want to be subjected to 3 hours and 12 minutes of, 3D spectacle, I guess. But, increasingly, this is just all movies are going to be.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you can see a 3 hour movie or you can stay at home.
Yeah.
We're going to see this movie. We're going to see how much money this movie makes. It's looking like he's going to do it again. This motherfucker. We will be back at these microphones in approximately 72 hours. After we get through Avatar, we'll probably like see it a few more times.
Yeah.
I hopefully they have IVs at the concession stand. But yeah, this is you're tall, but I'm standing in front of you, signing off for now.
Or forever. We'll see.
You're tall, but I'm standing in front of you.
It's a podcast.
All right, we're back. How you doing, buddy?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel like time now, there is no beginning, there is no end. There is simply the way of water.
Yeah, that's literally a line from the movie.
Yeah.
And it was 192 minutes. I usually am a credit stayer, as you know, because you explicitly asked my permission before you stood up.
Yes, because I've had violent encounters with you before where the end of Dune was happening. Like, well, let's head out. There's no post credits Dune. So you're like, if you ever do that to me again, we will have a problem.
Listen, it's usually my time to meditate about the movie and kind of absorb it.
Yeah.
There was nothing to meditate on here, as we'll get to. But first things first.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a swerve, perhaps, for our listeners.
No, not at all.
But I feel like we need to talk about Top Gun Maverick, which I know this isn't in the episode title or description.
Yeah.
But we happened to watch last night because we just wanted something, we wanted what we thought would be like a solid, normal action movie to just sort of like, relax at the end of the night. Knowing we were going into Avatar 2, we wanted something nice and tight.
Also, not getting ahead of ourselves. We know that Avatar was supposed to be a movie. It was like, well, how do you get yourself back into the frame of what movie might entail? You watch Top Gun Maverick because you've heard, oh, this is a movie. You haven't seen one of these movies in a while, and this was supposed to be one of them, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I feel the need to be explicit about this just because, like, I have a lot of, like, friends, people I know, people's opinions I respect.
Wow. Keep talking it up, buddy.
And they all were talking about this movie and how good it was.
Yeah.
In a way where, like, I feel like I get tricked by this every time, like, a major blockbuster comes out where everyone's like, actually, Galaxy Brain, this is a good one. This was just a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the there that everyone else was seeing was, because I was not seeing anything.
It was, I was expecting, like, sort of schlockiness, but like, oh, look, there's, like, a, cheeky callback, and then, like, at the very least, like, oh, there'll be a great action scene at the end. Like, everyone's talking up all this, the action work and the stuntery and all that shit, so...
Yeah, and I guess, like, there's, like, a version of that where, like, information about how some of that stuff was filmed, and you're like, oh, that's impressive that someone actually, like, piloted the plane or something. But what I'm seeing on the screen, that doesn't come through on the screen to me.
Well, also, the cool shots are the acrobatic shots, where, like, oh, the plane, like, swerves up, and you can sort of see what was clearly, like, real film that filmed this plane doing that, but, like, in the third act, like when planes blow up and helicopters blow up, that's not a stunt. That's just CGI, and it looks really dumb.
Yeah. And, like, I think that's the real flaw of this movie is that because, like, there's too much of the actual operation. Like, in the original Top Gun, the actual operation during which Tom Cruise starts World War III, which the film never addresses.
Not worry about it.
It's, like, tacked on at the very end. But the film was primarily about, like, being at school and having a crush on your teacher and going to the piano bar and playing Great Balls of Fire. And this somehow takes place in a universe where, like, some of those things still exist. But also we're, like, clearly trying to start a war with Iran. And, like,
no, a rogue state.
They really try to throw us off with the snow at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what if it was exactly Iran, but it was snow? But, like, I think this is maybe the most fascist movie I've ever seen.
So you mentioned last night, like, Triumph of the Will being almost, like, too on the mark, that, like, it knows it's a propaganda film. And we talked about how, like, well, the Nazi state had just been made, like, a few years prior. Like, it was trying to define itself, whereas this is kind of a very well-established kind of fascistic state, like, global imperialist state that is engaging in propaganda in a way that's much more... You don't need to say the loud part loud. Everything can be quiet and everyone will get what you're doing.
Yeah, this is late career fascist propaganda. Like, Triumph of the Will... which is a incredibly influential film.
Mm-hmm.
like influenced Hollywood in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from. I felt like look at the power. The power.
Yeah. Which like has led it to still being on syllabi to this day. Which I'm just gonna say, let's not do that anymore. Other professors who teach film, like, mention it in your lecture. You don't have to actually watch anything else.
Like, other films have people arriving by plane in an artistic way. Like, it's not like, okay, they did that, but like other people figured out how to do that similar thing later.
Yeah. Well, and the idea is also like if Triumph of the Will hadn't happened, no one ever would have figured that out. Right? but anyway, But like, yeah, exactly. It's like,
and also let's not remember that the Nazi project didn't work out. So was it really a triumph of the will? So the whole premise of the film itself about this creation of this enduring Reich, it's a lie because, they did, turn their entire country into rubble within the decade.
Exactly. But like our entire point with this, right, is that the U.S. didn't have to do that. Like doesn't have to make that film. Because the U.S.
Sorry, the U.S. Oh, so like, now we're back to Top Gun.
In regards to
Maverick.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Like, into Top Gun Maverick, right?
Not that the U.S. made Triumph of the Will for a second. You got me there for a second. Like, wow. I didn't know that.
Did you know that George H.W. Bush is the only person who doesn't remember where he was the day Triumph of the Will was filmed? Back in regards to Top Gun Maverick, right?
Yeah.
The reason I think Top Gun Maverick is more fascist than Triumph of the Will, even though Triumph of the Will seems more fascist because Triumph of the Will has to be like, look, it's a fascist movie, fascism is good.
Yeah.
Is because, exactly, like Top Gun Maverick is the propaganda of an empire, a decaying empire, but an empire that is still currently the global hegemon.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be like convincing you of anything. It's like, oh no, you are convinced because you wake up in the American empire.
Mm-hmm.
That is your convincing. And we are now just giving you we are just reminding you of the ideology you already live in. We're not trying to get you to change ideologies, right? It's like you are inured in this already.
Yeah, and even beyond that, beyond like reminding you of the ideology, it's saying like, here's your ideology you've already been primed for. Mm-hmm. Here are the sprinkles on top that make you like really bought into the ideology.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Philly. But that like gets you sort of like, oh yeah, this particular brand of it, I'm bought into because you sort of like built on top of what we already know to be true.
Yeah. And I think like we kind of talked about this last night, but I guess just because we should get to Avatar too. Our read on this in the way it's fascist really quickly, and I'll let you add on to this, but I think like this is the product of a conversation Ethan and I had last night, is that like the fascistic thesis of Top Gun Maverick is that it is an inherently good thing for the human body via machines to reach its physical limits in terms of, for example, how fast it can move through space, the like quick trigger actions it can take, right? But that conditions of peacetime would not produce those kind of people that can do those kind of things. So you need to have an imperial nation that is imposing its domain on the entire globe to produce not like this film isn't actually care about that. What it cares about is that those are the conditions under which man and I use man intentionally because that's what they're invested in, right? Will be pushed, like in a Nietzschean sense, I guess, or like the fascist understanding of Nietzsche, right, to the limits, because it is impossible to actually impose a truly global domain. So these circumstances will always present themselves under which man can be pushed further. If we had full communism, everyone would just be like, well, why we don't need to go Mach 10.2.
Oh, he went 10.3 in his defense.
My bad.
Beyond the realms of what communists could even imagine. Only the free market could ever produce.
Communists were busy being like, how do we feed people?
Yeah. So even beyond what you said, like it's almost this idea that yes, this perpetual imperial state requires this specialization that like doesn't arise naturally, but like in preservation of the state needs to exist
exactly
to preserve it. There's also this idea that this sort of fascistic state in existing creates this Ubermensch, but then also like there's this tale through this where you literally never see the face of whoever the adversary is in this rogue state.
Yeah.
Even the pilots are like, they have like the tinted helmets, like they don't exist.
They're
as
LaDainian
humans.
Tomlinson back when he played for the Chargers, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's this idea that the possibility that any one of these pilots dies is catastrophic to you as the viewer. And you know that they're surely not all gonna die. There's never a inkling in your mind that all of these pilots are gonna die and the mission will fail. Obviously, the mission's gonna succeed. The anxiety and the tension is, will one of the pilots die? And so those
Even
are the
one.
stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so even the premise of the film is built on the stakes of like, either we succeed by getting 2 miracles and everyone gets out, or we succeed but one of our Ubermensch dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, spoiler alert, they don't.
No, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thesis of Top Gun is essentially, what if we had an empire and no one died?
Can I build on it? Because I think it's specifically rooted to like boomerism, in the idea that what if you can be a boomer and of course you're better than everyone else skill-wise? All the kids, obviously you're better than them.
That's so true.
But
yeah.
then the premise is, like, if you just keep being better than them, it's all gonna work out, and you don't have to worry about consequences because this time around, because you've learned a lot over the years, you know?
Yeah.
You lived through the 80s. You're great. You had adversity in the 80s. Your wingman died.
Absolutely.
But because of that, you're hyper competent, way more than these Zoomers. And so you can not only save the day, but you also save all of them. So in this time around, no one even actually dies because you're hyper competent as a boomer.
These Zoomers don't even have their own music. They play Great Balls of Fire just like you did.
Yeah.
Which was your generation's music, right?
Yeah, but
right?
you did it better.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it really is, because like the initial, like the film acts like it's going to be about like a boomer learning that he has to pass it on to the next generation, and he ultimately learns like, no, I just have to do it myself because no one else could do it like I did. I'm the protagonist of history, baby. So speaking of people who think they're the protagonist of history, we come to James Cameron.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Mr., the mascot of the podcast, if anyone is.
Yeah.
Our second ever episode.
Yeah.
On aliens.
Mm-hmm. He's back, baby.
We've done an episode on Avatar 1, and we're back. We set ourselves up for this with Avatar 12, The Way of Water.
It's James Cameron.
So, where to begin with this? So, we just saw it earlier today. If Avatar 1 was a film that asked the question, what if there were blue people? Avatar 2 is a film that asks the question, what if there were turquoise people as well?
Definitively answers that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one will give it credit, but definitively answers that.
And the answer is, it's a lot like Avatar 1, but with turquoise people who all disappear during the third act.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like, did you like Avatar 1? Well, what if we just had a final act that only had the characters that you cared about in it?
Yeah. I guess we should just talk a little bit about what happens in this movie. Very briefly.
Yeah, we don't, spoiler alert, but
yeah,
come on.
Just to ground our conversation here. So we assume you've seen it, right? But
honestly, though, even if you haven't, this conversation... Don't! And if you do, just know that this conversation will not be the reason you aren't satisfied having watched it. So, yeah.
So basically, we start off... it's been 10 years or something, or a year?
I mean, they do a speed run of we're married, we have a baby, we have more babies.
There's a bunch of babies.
There's a baby born from the dead avatar of Sigourney Weaver's character.
That's never
Everyone's like,
fully
who's
addressed.
the dad
Yeah,
of this
that's
character?
Creepy.
I'm sure there was, in Avatar 4, they're going to figure it out.
They're going to eventually say, that's a mystery. We don't know who, the dad...
It's going to be Mother Earth. It's going to be an Immaculate Conception situation, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah. So like you've got it's like Natavi and Jake Sully. They have like
I don't know.
Oh no,
What
Natari?
is Natavi?
Natari? What is Zoe Saldana's character called?
Natavi?
As he Googles Zoe Saldana.
Neytiri, right?
Neytiri.
Neytiri, okay.
Okay.
It's Neytiri.
So Neytiri and Jake Sully, they've got like 3 kids biologically or something. It's like the 2 brothers and then the little girl.
Yeah.
And then there's also this like teenage girl who was born of the Sigourney Weaver avatar that is still like, I guess still like exists. It's in like a tank.
They're keeping it chilling.
It's basically it's like Terry Schiavo. And then there's like Spider.
Yep.
Who is this? And I know what you were thinking, like Avatar was kind of like racially problematic. Well, one of the few non-CGI characters in Avatar 2 is like a kid with white dreads who's like naked and in like tribal war paint the entire time.
Yeah.
But he is, I guess, like so neither Ethan nor myself remember the evil colonel from Avatar 1 having a son.
No.
So we don't think that was in the movie, but they've kind of retconned that he had a son that then like couldn't go back to Earth because of like.
So of all the like issues, I'm fine with this because you could just be like, oh well, he was sort of an asshole, so he probably didn't care about his kid.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll agree with that, but I see but what you're saying is he couldn't go back to Earth because he was a baby, and babies can't do the sleepy weepy thing that everyone else
because
does.
the film doesn't want them to be able to do it.
Yeah. And he was, I guess, the only baby in this whole compound.
And so like he's also like kind of a surrogate son.
You know what? I'm going to, in my mind, retcon it that the Na'vi murdered all of the other babies. Anyways, go on.
But then they were like, this baby has potential for white dreads. So that's like the situation. Then the other like setup we get is that so the villain of the last movie, so this movie was faced with the challenge of coming up with a new villain, and instead it was like, no, instead right before, so you didn't see this in Avatar 1, but right before the final battle in Avatar 1, the big villain guy, the Colonel or whatever his name is, Stephen Lang, I think is the guy that plays him.
Colonel Stephen Lang.
Well, that's the actor, but
yes, I
know, the most generic Marine you've ever seen.
Yeah.
He has uploaded his consciousness into a hard drive that is then sent back to Earth and made into an avatar version of himself, with several other Marines who apparently were in Avatar 1, but we are not sure of that.
Yeah.
So like the villain is just the same villain from Avatar 1, but he's an avatar now.
And I know what you're saying, like, why didn't they give this to a Marine that has proven themselves to not get murdered on the job because they're bad? But they're like, you know what? We've got this on back order. Like, we've got this consciousness uploaded. Like, why not just
What if we
pop
sent
it
the
in?
exact same guy who just failed to just try it again, but now he's an avatar?
Yeah,
with
now-
all the same supporting cast. We're not doing anything new. It's basically, but I mean, this is basically like the Trump foreign policy cabinet, right? You know, we've got Oliver North. We've got like, you know, these people we remember.
Was Oliver North in the Trump administration?
He did something. He was
He was on Fox News.
He was brought in to like help with like Guaido or something.
So like that to me, but like that is what it is. You bring in the people who fucked up this exact thing to be like, why don't you do this thing you just fucked up?
Yeah. In that case, it's kind of more realistic, I guess. But anyway, so they're brought back, and then basically all that happens in this movie is this movie's about Stephen Lang wanting to get revenge and kill Jake Sully. And like he mostly fails, but like as a result of him doing that, Jake Sully and his family have to run, and so they go to a different tribe that is like the turquoise version of the Na'vi who do water stuff. And they can hold their breath for an indeterminate amount of time that varies a lot based on what the plot requires.
Yeah.
They have like kind of like fin arms. They integrate with that tribe. They learn how to like braid link with animals, like with marine animals.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Stephen Lang hooks up with some whalers.
Yeah, essentially.
And then like they get fucked up kinda, except that like one of the sons dies, and that's basically what happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one major thing you're missing that we will talk about in a moment is you do have a species of talking whales that are an integral part to both the conflict and the resolution to that conflict in this film.
Yeah.
So we'll chat about that, but then otherwise, yes, that is the premise.
And like, yeah, they lose a son. But it doesn't really matter because they can just like plug into the Earth at any point and like re-experience their son.
Yeah, let's. I mean, do you want to chat about the son now, just before we wrap up the plot? Because there's not much to say.
We should just kind of go over the different characters and their motivations, right? So you've got Jake and Natari, and they're just kind of like the same, but now they have kids. And they're like, they only care about their kids and they have no personality. They have no relationship. They have no authentic love. It's just like, oh, we're parents and we have our parents and we protect our parents. And Zoe Saldana's performance is very like animalistic and like, you know, she's a little more like, you know, instinctual as it depicts her, which is kind of fucked up. And then Jake Sully, because he's like part human, is like, you know, the more rational one.
Yeah. Well, Zoe Saldana, I feel like her character does very similar things. Like in the first film, you remember when the Tree of Life is burning down or whatever, and she has like the very emotional, understandably emotional reactions, like the like screaming and like very distraught. And like I feel like they just do the same thing with her character throughout this film, where she is repeatedly distraught by terrible things happening to you.
But like, you know, the tree being burned in the first Avatar is like this world historical event, right?
Yeah.
And like it's a little more earned in that. Like in this movie, it's like Zoe Saldana is only allowed to portray 3 emotional registers. Either like completely neutral, stone cold killer thing where she's like can just like snipe dudes instantly with her bow.
Yeah.
Which is not that different from the first one, or a despair at the point of being like completely out of control and being like hissing and screaming.
I'll give you one more, which is she's the supportive mother. Like they always like toss her in as the like the voice of calm, as like actually I'm the mother in this scenario, so let me just add in my voice after we've already concluded the thing we're talking about.
Yeah,
that's her character.
Yeah, so there's her. I mean, nothing more needs to be said about Jake Sully. He's the most generic protagonist in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver returns.
Yep.
As a new character, awkwardly, as her own daughter. Ethan, do you want to introduce Kiri?
Not really. I mean, she's. So I guess the idea is that, of course, Sigourney Weaver's character dies in the film, but her avatar is still like dead, but sitting in the fluid, but then is pregnant, and they're like, "Oh shit, what do we do with this?" And the child that her dead avatar, her brain dead avatar, gives birth to, is this new character that's adopted by the Scullys, but is, you know, acted by and voice acted by Sigourney Weaver,
which is very awkward because you keep being like, why is this like daughter older than her parents? But her bit is kind of like she's like the gifted kid, right? She's like the weird one. People think she's a freak, but she seems to be like she's very in touch with Awa, which is like the equivalent of like Gaia in the Pandora universe. But yeah, you know, she's the weird one. She's got special abilities. and like, yeah, mysterious parentage, because we don't know who impregnated the like comatose Sigourney Weaver Avatar.
And it's gonna be the Gaia thing. Like that's my, because they're leaving it for
Yeah,
Avatar
it
either
can't
3,
be-
4, or 5.
There can't be any explanation where it's like, oh, someone had sex with the comatose Avatar. There's like jokes about that, which is actually really disturbing.
Yes.
Like the children joke about like the one science guy. It's like,
Yeah.
just like, but like it seems like there's definitely something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
like when they tried to and failed to resurrect her in the first film, what they were actually doing was like they actually were resurrecting her, but in a less direct way.
It's an
Not
immaculate
reanimating
conception.
the body,
sort
but
of-
yeah. Okay,
What the fuck are we talking about with?
we're just going through some of the kids and who the characters are.
Great.
And so then there's 2 sons.
Yeah.
Their names aren't that important, but there's like older competent son and younger fuck up son.
Yeah.
Right?
As there normally is.
Yeah. And so like older competent son has no faults and just exists to be the only one who dies in this film. Like, the only character who dies.
His fault is that he cares for his brother too much.
Yeah. No, it's like he's answering that interview question about what your greatest weakness is.
Yeah.
I defend my brother too much.
I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah. But like, and then there's the middle brother who he's allowed to be a little more of a character because he's flawed. He becomes friends with an outcast whale. He has a crush, which like one of the weirder moments of this film when like they arrive at the turquoise people planet, or like, I'm sorry, like the turquoise village. And like, there's this shot of like a 15-year-old turquoise Navi, but the film is trying to tell you this is like supposed to be sexy, but you're just looking at like a 3D CGI 15-year-old alien.
She's hot coded.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, the film is hot coding her. Like it's shooting her in a way where it's like, and it's showing us the reverse shot of the sun being like, oh, this is hot, but it's like the film is basically telling you you're supposed to think this is attractive.
Yeah.
It's trying to like do this male gaze thing, and it's just really creepy.
Yes.
And also like most of the emotional beats in this film, it's completely unearned because their relationship has no substance besides the fact that we are told they are attracted to each other. Like we don't see them actually getting to know each other in any meaningful way. She does teach him how to breathe, but like we have no sense of like why they would like each other specifically.
Yeah.
Like what is compatible about them.
She's a rebel.
Yeah. And then there's like a little daughter who is a is just like exists to be like, oh, I hope she doesn't die.
Oh no, I got captured.
Yeah. And then there's the aforementioned like human white guy with dreads who is like apparently Stephen Lang's son.
Yeah.
And then there is like another couple who are like the head of the turquoise tribe and the turquoise tribe is very like Maori coded. Like they even do like,
I thought it was Maori.
yeah. Okay. Like the turquoise tribe is very Maori coded. Like they even do like kind of like Haka-esque dances and stuff. Right. And Cliff Curtis, who is Maori, plays the patriarch.
Yeah.
But the matriarch, who James Cameron has told us is the most feminist character of all time because she fights while pregnant, even though she completely disappears from the movie for the last like hour plus, is played by Kate Winslet.
Also famously Maori. Yeah.
Kate Winslet returning to the water where she once left Leo to die. And yeah, so that's basically who we're talking about here. And I don't think we need to get into the plot much more than this, but now we're just going to go through some of the specific beats we wanted to hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's basically what happens in the movie. That's basically who's in the movie. There's a few things we wanted to talk about with this. I guess one of the first things that's interesting that this film is doing
Our dogs are very worked up about it.
Yeah, that's just gonna listen. Whenever we do a pod live, it means our dogs are in the room with us.
Yep.
And that's just how it goes. This decision to have like returning actors playing new characters.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's very little new casting in this film besides like the children are like the main, and then you have the Kate Winslet, Cliff Curtis couple who are kind of pretty minor characters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They totally disappear from the last arc of the film.
It's a family affair.
Yeah. Yeah, because as you say, like it becomes there's a big battle that ends really quickly, and then for some reason no one sticks around to help.
Yeah.
And it becomes a family thing
Yeah.
of escaping from just like a submarine or a sinking ship. But you have, Sigourney Weaver coming back, but playing her own daughter. You have Stephen Lang playing like his own clone. What do we make of this, if anything?
I mean, if ever there's a film where you can have actors returning, I guess it's this one. The downside is, like you said, like, why does this presumably like 14-year-old Na'vi sound like a 70-year-old human woman? It's because it's being played by that person, because I guess it's the draw of having big name actors, even though you can't see them. It's confusing to me, but I'm sure that the executives at Disney ran the numbers of like the number of big names we have to have, and I'm sure there's a reason for it, but
the thing that's so puzzling to me is it seems to me like this would have been the perfect film to do something kind of interesting where like Sigourney Weaver does the motion capture for this character so that it looks like Sigourney Weaver, but then you have someone else do the voice. Like it seems like a whole point of doing this dumb CGI movie should be doing weird things like that where different people can play different aspects of different characters. Instead, it's just like, oh, we can't let go. Who forgets the iconic performances of Stephen Lang and Sigourney Weaver in Avatar 1, which, by the way, they do bring back the Stanford shirt. Comes back in a flashback.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a thing, though, where I almost wonder, this is me being like almost conspiratorial in my thinking, but there was about a month ago, I started seeing TikToks. You're on TikTok often, right? So I started seeing TikToks about people reacting about the Hunger Games, and it was who played Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games?
Jennifer Lawrence.
So it was Jennifer Lawrence doing things saying like, oh, this is like the first time we had a like real female protagonist in an action film. And the whole point of all these TikToks were to be like, no, Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, we ignore Alien, but like in Aliens was like the female protagonist in an action film. And as I was watching these TikToks, so my one saving grace is I've never liked a single video on TikTok, so I'm at the whim of the algorithm. Whatever it decides to throw at me.
Absolutely pure.
Yeah. So mostly transphobia stuff. But sometimes it gets me the Sigourney Weaver. It's like, actually, Sigourney Weaver was the first one. She was great. And as I was listening to that, I kept thinking, knowing we were going to do this episode, is this viral marketing for Avatar 2 to like get people to remember like, oh, Sigourney Weaver's like the OG female sci-fi action star? And again, probably not, but I've got this conspiratorial light in the back of my head that is saying like, maybe I could see them doing that to build hype. Because how else do you build hype for Avatar 2?
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's like that comparison actually weakens Avatar 2, right? And Avatar 1, because like you think of like the classic like Sigourney Weaver performances.
Right.
Aliens, Ghostbusters. She's playing like interesting people who find themselves in these situations that are also that are unusual. Within this film, she's playing like a parody of that character where it's just like, we're not going to actually do the legwork to make... And this film was 3 hours and 12 minutes long. They had plenty of time to make these characters interesting.
Yeah.
And, like, they're all just, like, such cardboard cutouts. And Kiri is just, like, this, like, trope character It's like 11 in Stranger Things kind of character, you know, where it's just sort of like, oh, here's the like quirky female character who is like talented, but we're not going to actually like in the case of Kiri, we're not going to actually get into any of like, you know, there's the very basic plot information of like she has a complicated relationship to her parentage, but we never actually see any texture of that, what that actually looks like, what her actual emotional experience is, you know, that is entirely, it's tropified.
I mostly agree with you, but we have a few scenes in the film, and again, if you haven't seen Avatar yet, it's fine. Nothing we're saying will ruin the experience of seeing this film because the plot is not the reason to see this film. But there are a few scenes, like she watches a video of her mother talking about like understanding whatever the Gaia character is in the film. Awa. So like she's like seeing like it's not intelligence, but like it seems like there's something going on here with this planet. And then she has the visions whenever she plugs into Awa.
Yeah, she has like seizures.
But like she like sees her mother played by Sigourney Weaver. So like there are some connections that to me, again, they only make sense of in terms of plot development and character development if you understand that there's going to be an Avatar 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
In the context of the film, nothing happens with that, but I think like that's where they're going with it.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's not textural at all, right? It's not earned. It's always like I watch something on a screen, and it's the same thing with Spider, the like human character. His emotional arc is that he sees like what's essentially like dash cam footage of his father's death in Avatar 1. So the final fight where Stephen Lang gets killed by Neytiri, he sees that, and then that's when we get like, then we just get like a reverse shot of him having seen the footage being like, I feel emotionally conflicted. Now I'm conflicted between who I'm loyal to, the humans or the Na'vi. But we don't actually see what that looks like. We don't get any texture of it. We don't get any specificity of it, right? It's just like, oh, a character watched a filmed version of their past and now has, in big air quotes, complicated thoughts. Like, that's the extent to which James Cameron can imagine an interiority for any of these characters.
So I mostly agree with you. I want to play a bit of a devil's advocate here.
Please do.
Because again, I'm living in a world where this film is going to make $500 million this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later.
So I need to come to terms with that. So I feel like we've complained a lot about characters that phone in their motivations and like literally have to speak it out. And I think sometimes in film, it can be a good thing to show rather than tell. But again, I think the issue with this film, like in many ways, James Cameron is showing rather than telling. But I think he's showing rather than telling because he doesn't quite know where Avatar 3, 4, and 5 are going. So he's showing to open himself up to what he wants to do with the future films that he's already financially obligated to create and is going to do. So I think it's like you can see the benefit of like, well, at least they don't say everything explicitly, but like that's actually by nature of knowing this is the second film in a 5-film series. That's why they did a lot of those things, because they're like, we're going to do something with this later.
Okay. Can I give you a counterpoint?
Okay.
Of just like an example of what I'm talking about where I wish the film had this. Do you remember in Jaws, which, speaking of films about water and aquatic life.
You're totally right there.
The scene where the father from Jaws, like the protagonist of Jaws, is like at like the dinner table with his son and is just like making like weird faces at him back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That is texture, right? Like that isn't plot information. That isn't telling me like, oh, the son feels this way about his father because of XYZ family tree bullshit.
Right.
It's just like, oh, that's what it feels like to be a father or to be a son, you know? And there's nothing like that in this movie. There's nothing where I authentically feel anything resembling human emotion about any of the people in this movie or these familial relationships.
So maybe a question for you is, like, just reflecting for myself, the modern blockbuster, to me, like, there is no modern blockbuster that is a standalone blockbuster. Every blockbuster is part of some metaverse, whatever it is. Is it possible to even feel that thing watching these films? Because to me, every moment you're watching is trying to piece together the greater metaverse they're creating for the different films. And so
absolutely.
I think, like,
entire
you can't do it. So even a situation that, if it were a standalone film like Jaws was at the time, you could see a scene and be like, oh, I'm learning more about these people as characters in this lived world. Every scene in this film, to me, on my mind, is like, oh, what are they building up for Avatar 4?
Yeah.
So
I think it's a great point, and there's something to be said about the fact that even if they did it, which to be clear, I don't think they are, we might not be able to perceive it because of just the nature of these films now, the way they're part of these larger things. But I wish they tried a little harder, I don't know.
Right.
I wish they just this film was 3 hours.
Yeah.
There is no moment of this film, though, that feels unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
There's no moment of this film where it feels like, oh, we let the actors pretend they were a family for 10 fucking minutes, where like it actually felt like, oh, here's what these people are really like. Like, that's what I'm asking for.
There was no scene with them being a family.
Yeah, never. They are always an avatar, pun intended, of their role in an ideal family structure.
Yeah, that's very true. Which is wild to me because, again, this film is 3 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if it was 90 minutes, I would not be nitpicking about this. Because I would be like, whatever, they're serving a role in the plot.
Yeah.
But it's 3 hours and 12 minutes, and this did not have 3 hours and 12 minutes of plot.
Well, I love that you talked about plot because we've now gone through the plot. We've talked about this. The plot doesn't matter, but when we come back, I think we're going to be digging through a whole bunch of elements of this plot that only make sense in their self enclosed spaces.
Yeah.
And are hilarious to actually talk about. So I think we're going to dig into a whole bunch of shit coming up here. So one thing that, honestly, early on in the film, I thought they did it well. There's always this question, the Hunt for Red October question of how do they switch languages?
It should be called, in every, screenwriting class, the Hunt for Red October question.
And they did it well in this film where early on he's like, I got so comfortable with the language that eventually it started sounding like English. And then it was English.
So then we realized we're in the Ulysses by James Joyce of blockbusters because this entire thing must take place within Jake Sully's mind, right?
Yeah. So, but it was fine. It's fine on the word.
They're giving you a little hat tip. So when they speak English, they're actually speaking Atari, but
And maybe it was because that he had just said this, but then he immediately after has a scene where he's like, Jesus, what's wrong with you? And so in my mind, I'm like, wait, what is
the Atari word for Jesus?
Yeah, it's is it just Jesus? Or is it what's the name for their?
Awa?
Is it just Awa?
But who's the son of Awa, right?
That's in their religion, there is everyone is the son of Awa. So anyways, I was confused when they said literally, because now they're just speaking English. Jesus, what's wrong with you? And so that was one that came out to me early on. I think there were some other examples where the language was interesting. It was like James Cameron, but knowing he's making a film for Disney that needs to sell Zoomer tickets.
Yeah. So listeners, write in. Tell us if we're wrong. But apparently James Cameron thinks that the youth of today just say bro all the time. Because I would like to do I would like to get the subtitles of this film and do a statistical analysis because it feels like 75% of the words in this film are bro. like almost all the dialogue in this film, especially past a certain point, because you kind of have you have some plot, some character building in the beginning, But then once it gets into the kind of like action set piece part of the film, 90% of the dialogue is just like someone grabbing on to like a fish being that someone else has their braid plugged into, and then like tapping on them and being like, bro, go, bro. Like, that's apparently what you do in this universe if you're under the age of whatever Jake Sully is. Like, how old do you think Jake Sully is? 38?
Oh, I mean, like it seems like the kids are in their teens now. So to me, I was assuming they were in their mid 40s.
Okay.
I think,
how old is Sam Worthington? I'm going to look this up.
Look that up. As you're doing that, I just want to add on that, like, to me, if I had to justify why they did that with the bro, because I also noticed that, it's that they want to really speak to the idea that the Sully clan is sort of this half human, half Na'vi thing. So like the way they speak even is influenced by English. And so that's
so they
how
say
I was,
Jesus and bro.
Yep.
Sam Worthington is 46.
Wow.
So yeah, you're right. Like these are like it's mid 40s parents with Zoomer kids. Speaking of generational gaps, we have not mentioned the fact that Edie Falco is in this movie.
True.
Carmela Soprano herself plays like a military figure of some kind who appears to be in charge for the first 50% of the movie and then completely disappears in it. Much of the way, I might add, we didn't mention this during our Top Gun Maverick bit, but Ed Harris is in the first like 10 minutes of Top Gun Maverick as the head honcho and then completely disappears from it.
His whole thing is like drones are going to replace pilots. And then not even like a fourth of the way into the film, it's like, and you are going to pilot school. And then they never mention drones again. Drones aren't part of the plot.
Yeah.
It's like a thing, I guess, like just to appeal to boomer anxieties about automation.
It sets up this thing where it's like the final confrontation is going to be human versus drone, and it's going to prove that human is always better than drone because they, like, you know, Tom Cruise will do something like counterintuitive to defeat the drone. Instead, it's like, guess what? Neither us nor the enemy are even considering using drones.
Yeah.
So what this film asks is, what if Edie Falco was like Ed Harris, but had even less thematic content?
So she's the head of this base. She's like bragging on the base, like, we've got drones that are building buildings really fast. Yeah. But then she like is also doing the exact same thing that the Colonel's character did in the first film, like sitting in the big ship, sipping her coffee.
She doesn't get it. She can't understand the land. You need to have, and this is the classic imperial ideology, right? Is you need to have someone of the land that you're going to take over that understands how it actually works, right? And we'll talk about this when we get our friends from Better Than the Dead on to talk about Last of the Mohicans, right? But it's this same trope of just like, we need someone to go native.
Which they explicitly say in the first Avatar. They talk about like, oh, he's gone native. About the Mike Scully character.
But so in the first film, it's a mistake. In this film, they're like, no, like step one is we make you go, and like he tells his crew, Stephen Lang does, where he's like, step one, we need to be like them, we need to act like them, we need to speak their language, you know. But inexplicably, Carmela Soprano, who should be getting way more and way better roles, disappears from the last at least 50% of this movie, maybe longer. Like, she has nothing, we never see her again.
Yeah.
This film is doing a lot of that. It's really weird.
Yeah, they just switch over to say, like, now it's the sea peoples. It's the whalers are the that it's one of their ships. They were requisitioned this, and so it has nothing to do with the general anymore. Even though the general was very hands-on in the first half, she's just not. Yeah. But again, you think of this in terms of like, oh, there's going to be 5 Avatar films. You're like, well, she's going to be
we keep expecting arcs, but it's like, we're like mid-arc.
Yeah. James Cameron is just introducing new characters that he knows he's going to use later.
We haven't even seen, it's not even like we've seen one game in an NFL season. This film is like a drive. You know, it's like Avatar has just scored a field goal and has gone up like 10-0 on humanity. If Avatar 1 was a touchdown, Avatar 2 will probably end up being a touchdown, unfortunately. We'll talk about that later.
A question I want to ask you that this conversation brings up is you could perhaps make an argument, and again, maybe I'm going too far into this, giving too much credit to Avatar, but you could ask a question around, is there a message in this film around this idea of like indigenous populations who become encultured through the colonial population and are operating like as direct antagonists to the indigenous population? Is there a message in this story about how like that is an issue of like, yeah, you may be Na'vi, but like you're literally, your brain is a colonialist. And so what you're doing, this is like the Colonel Lang character, like, yeah, technically, and now you don't have a fallback. Like, this is who you are. You are a Na'vi, but your essence is colonialist. So everything you're doing is actually, it doesn't matter like whether you're Na'vi or not. It's your actions that are operating as a colonialist to do this.
And this also comes up when they are torturing Spider.
Right.
Which is one of the last scenes that Edie Falco's in, which is interesting. We're bringing it up now, but like they're running like this, like these green lights are spinning around his head. It's kind of Clockwork Orange.
I like that you mentioned this because I was peeing when this scene happened.
Yeah. No, I was bringing this up partially. I was going to mention you were peeing, but I was like, it's important to Ethan's point that this thing happened while he was peeing.
Said I could pee at any point in this film and it would be fine.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of important, right? Yeah. Because then, like, they're doing that, and it's important that they're not just torturing him. They're trying to get him to think of where Jake Scully is.
Oh, wow.
It's actually not that he has to say it. They have a technology where they are just, like, the green lights seemingly are just to confuse him or to make him distressed. And if his brain thinks for a moment, and Edie Falco keeps telling him, just think of where they are for a second, and then we'll see it immediately. And they have his brain literally on like a map, because it's like he has a human brain, right? So there is something interesting in this, but I don't think the film is willing to commit to it enough. I think it's in there for us to excavate, right? But I don't think the film gives it to us enough.
Yeah.
But like if you wanted to do like the way Chapo Trap House did the episode where they were like, Avatar 1 is like, you know, anti-imperialist propaganda. Like, you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think then you're overreaching. But I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think I am. I'm just saying, like, the fact that the conversation can even be had is more than you get in some franchises these days, which I will say, in James Cameron's defense, like, you know, when you talk about like directors these days, they're the kids of other directors that like they haven't done anything other than being primed to be really good directors. James Cameron was like in the trenches, did a bunch of shit. And so even though now he's not willing to really contradict Hollywood as he's making Avatar 2 for Disney.
God.
But like he can give us the little nuggets.
Fuck, man. God, you're so right. I'm so mad about how right you are. Because like I went into this pod being like, this movie was just bad. And now you've like got me. I'm like, wait a minute. James Cameron put the seed of the critique of what he was doing in the film. I can't believe you convinced me that he's doing it. But you have, I think, convinced me. Like, that actually is God. And it was the scene that you were peeing during. That's what's so interesting is I saw the scene. You came back from peeing and I was like, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, actually, God.
Yeah.
God damn it, James Cameron.
The only safe way you can do it is be like, you can pee anytime, it's okay, but really.
But don't pee at this exact time when I give you the clue.
But the fact that we had two of us, we overcame what he was contractually obligated to do, which is to say you can pee at any time.
That's what it's about. No, that is the film.
Yeah.
You are so right. The film it's like your brain. It's your fucking brain. It's Marcuse's shit. It's like your brain has been rewired by imperialism. So you need to get a new brain. And what is going to give you a new brain? Avatar 2. And that's where he's wrong, but his aspirations are right. He's like, if I can make 3D realistic enough, I can rewire people's brains. But he should actually just be like investing billions of dollars into like local communities. But so he's totally wrong.
Yeah.
And he's an evil person.
Yeah.
But there is like a flaw. He's an evil person with a flaw. You know?
Yeah. That's a good break. So, Devin, I promise, like, we're going to be moving through the themes of this film. I didn't anticipate that I would entirely shift your perspective.
Shatter my perspective on the movie.
So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. But there are a few things that I think were pretty interesting in watching this film in the moment. And
because we saw it in the theater.
We did, yes.
And we do have to give I want to dedicate this podcast to the person that was sitting 2 seats over from me.
Oh, yes.
Who aggressively clapped anytime a whale was on screen for any reason other than when a whale was being harmed, during which they went, "Oh no."
And let's be clear, there were scenes where the protagonist had really big wins in this film. Silence.
No reaction.
Only when the whale.
But then when the whale gets involved.
Yep. Yeah, you get him. You get him. Yeah. That really stood out to me. This person, there is in particular a whale that's an outcast whale. Mm-hmm. So it's probably not the fact that it was an outcast, but probably more the fact that it was a whale. But this whale like gets its moment in the sun where it's like, you're hurting my friends. I'm gonna fuck shit up. Which again is this theme of like, actually, you think you're in control of nature. Nature's actually in control of you in the grand scheme of things. It's like the one of the themes they go on here. But yes, lots of claps for the whale.
Absolutely. Love the whale, I guess. I felt really embarrassed because I got a whale tattoo 2 days ago. Yeah. It's for the film Werkmeister Harmonies. And
do you remember this moment? There was a moment in the film, Devin, when the younger brother, the fuck-up brother, asked the whale, like, why were you outcast?
Who are your guys?
I turned to Devin and I said, "How? That's an open-ended question. How can
a
whale
complicated question
answer that?" As I'm saying this to Devin, what happens?
So, like, all the questions up to this point have been, like, yes or no questions. The whale can, like, give some kind of indication.
Whoop?
Yeah. So, like, easy. This question is asked. Ethan's like, he can't answer that. Mm-hmm. At the exact point, the whale goes, "Rrr," and you're like, well, that isn't helpful. Except that this time, there is a papyrus subtitle of, like, the whale in perfect English saying whatever the fuck it said. Yeah. Do you remember?
It was something like...
Oh, it's too painful.
It's too painful.
It's too painful. And we were both just like, what the fuck is going on?
Painful is a complex emotion to communicate.
Yeah. And, like, the film has not addressed to this point the fact that, like, we later learn, actually, that the turquoise Na'vi can speak to whales. But this is the first time we're seeing that. Like, it's not like it establishes that's a thing that can be learned, and then, like, we see the son learning it.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I asked him a question, and, like, FYI, during the last 20 seconds, I learned how to speak to whale.
The way the whale responds, you don't hear it be like, oh, it's like, wow, that sounds like Na'vi, what he say? He literally is like, whoop! It's like the Home Improvement sound. And then The guy's like, oh, I understand you because there's subtitles.
No, and we never see a moment of the son being like, I finally understand whales. I've learned. We never see him practicing.
No.
It's just like yes or no questions.
Yep.
There's a 12-second scene of someone like skiing, water skiing, basically on a shark.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back, and it's like, I now fully understand whales to the point that we are using subtitles.
Speaking of whales, a central premise to this film that like kind of becomes super important in the middle and then not important for the rest of this almost seems to be a plot element for them being like, here's why we have boats.
Yeah, because they're like, you can
just have them.
Yeah,
like
the Stephen Lang character ends up glomming onto this like whaling ship.
Yeah,
it's like a fucking like Moby Dick kind of operation, and like they have to establish that because the Avatar 1 heads will remember unobtainium, the
go on.
This like impossible metal or whatever that exists, and that was the most important material in the universe.
And we talked in our podcast about Avatar about how there's almost something cool about it being like not very well described, and them calling it unobtainium, which is like the cliche.
It's clearly a MacGuffin.
Yeah, and like they're cognizant of that in a way of like, who cares what it is? You just need to know it's important. Like we needed to do the space travel stuff, but this, they introduce. It's like a whale juice in their brains. I can't even
possibly remember what it's called.
Because they're talking. Because
it's yellow.
It allows
it's whale juice in their brain.
It allows for them to have a conversation with the
WJITB.
The Jermaine Clement character, which I want to talk about in a second.
We're going to talk about him soon.
They talk about how like, because they're saying like, here's the brain and here's the juice, and like they extract the brain juice.
Which then the whaler character tells us is without ever being like, he's not ever like, it has recently usurped unobtainium as the most. Nope. He's just like, this is the most desired commodity in the universe. So like, Avatar is essentially Dune. But what if the spice was constantly re-upped by a new thing based on whatever the director was interested in?
Yeah.
So basically, the shit with Avatar 2, like if we want to get down to like psychological motivations, right? Yeah. It's that James Cameron loves water.
Yes.
And he's mad that he had to be interested in land because water was too hard, and the CGI is better, and now he's like, don't think about it, but the best thing to have is whale brain juice.
Can I ask you a question, Devin?
Yes.
Because now we know we have like the ambergris that is the unobtainium Mark II, whatever it is. There is the analogy you could make of like Deepwater Horizon, where like I thought they were gonna do a thing of like they were destroying the water
to get
unobtainium, but and like even when they had a scene with the Sigourney Weaver child character like has the vision of her mother who is Awe having like, oh, it's painful. I thought it was like I'd be like, oh, they're like digging deep into the water to get unobtainium.
Because the whales are also established to be much smarter than
but so they just instead introduced this ambergris like whale brain juice thing that's unobtainium Mark II. Why do you think they abandoned unobtainium and just went for the whale juice? They being James Cameron, obviously.
I think it's very lazy. Okay. I think it's that James Cameron always wanted Avatar to be about water.
Yeah.
Because James Cameron is interested in water.
Yeah.
He wants to do underwater shit. I think it is established that he thought the CGI for water wasn't there yet when Avatar 1 came out.
Can I pause you? I agree with you with everything you've said, but I feel like you still could have had like unobtainium be like a thing beneath the Gulf Coast that is this Maori area. So like, why not just have it be unobtainium? Like, why the whale
or
stuff?
You could have had it clear that by taking this from the whales, we are doing something irreparable to the environment. Because like, to the extent this film has that message, it actually weirdly has a much less aggressive environmentalist message than Avatar 1 in terms of, at least in terms of its stated politics.
Yeah.
Because the degree it has an environmentalist message, it's based on people's memories of like Save the Whales campaigns.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, we feel bad when whales die, but we haven't actually materially established that on this world killing whales is bad.
And again, the issue is that they're intelligent. The issue isn't that like the destruction of
bad
life.
For the ecosystem.
Yeah, it's that, like, you're killing a thing that is even more smarter than humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like either that's like him taking his eyes off the prize, or that's him getting too cute about the, I know I get to make 7 more avatars. Not sure, but I will say definitively, at least like if you look at it as like a in the box, putting blinders on, just looking at one film,
Yeah.
Avatar 1 has a much more environmentalist message.
Absolutely. But it does bring to light this idea that James Cameron's big goal is like, imagine if Earth could kill us. Cuz like that's what really needs to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that is his goal in general with like all of these films.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say that like maybe Avatar okay, so I'll just like sort of back up slightly. Some of the themes that are common between Avatar 1 and 2 is this idea that 1, indigenous violence is required to stop colonialism. Mm-hmm. 2, this colonial extractive industry is damaging to every person involved, both colonialist and indigenous person. So I think like there are some common themes between both of them, but I think the difference is in terms of scale between 1 and 2. In like the first Avatar film, you almost see that like, wow, we expunged the colonialist from Pandora. Not that they're gone. There's always the threat that it will return. So we need to be ever vigilant. Mm-hmm. Whereas Avatar 2, in the first 15 minutes, they're like, they're back.
They came back.
And they came back way bigger than before. So like we literally can't even like we can't even stop them from being here because they landed like 15 bases all over. Like they're here. Let's not argue that point, which was the whole point of Avatar 1. Like, let's not argue the point that like the colonialists are here. It's just about how can we mitigate this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, and maybe in that regard, it's a more honest film for 2022.
Yeah.
Like maybe James Cameron's onto something with just the honesty of it. But anyways, that was my backtracking. But yeah.
No, and I think it comes back to those scenes where this person that was 2 seats down from us was clapping whenever the whale did something.
Yeah.
Right? Because there were some very triumphant moments. And there's some of the more emotional moments in the film are when there's a named whale in the film. It's called like Pelican or something. Like this exile whale.
Yeah.
Where it takes some agency. Some like kind of individual agency. And it does some shit. It fucks some shit up, right?
Yeah.
And it caused this person to cheer, to clap.
Yeah.
Right? And like that feels really good. And I think that speaks to what James Cameron wants ultimately, and what maybe a lot of us want deep down, which is that we want the planet to kill us.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
But if the planet killed us, that would be great, right? Like, we would love if the planet came together and took us down.
It's almost this resolution that it's not simply that the entire planet dies, it's that simply we die, but the planet doesn't have to die with us. Exactly. Which is an like that's not how it's gonna go. But it's a false realism of, wow, if this could happen, wouldn't that be convenient? It's sort of like where you realize that us being here is incompatible with the survival of the planet.
Yeah.
But like, what's a way? Like, what if we could just expunge ourselves? Then Man, wouldn't that be great if like the whole cool planet could just live on without us?
And it would be great, but we can't
Yeah.
expunge our traces, right?
No.
Because the thing is, the problem is, right?
Yeah.
If we erase humans from the planet, for example,
Yeah.
right? Who is going to make sure the nuclear reactors don't blow up?
Yeah.
We have changed the planet.
Yeah.
And we don't get to just be like, let's go back to basics. Because it's like, well, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And so the problem is with
Yeah.
this film is it has good intentions.
Yeah.
It in some emotional level is like, I wish the planet would win. I wish the planet would kill us. I actually want to be killed by the James Cameron goes to bed at night being like, I hope planet Earth kills me in my sleep.
Yeah. Which you're never going to get with almost any other Disney director.
Exactly. So that's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
But he can only imagine that happening by recourse to this kind of magical indigeneity. It's
Yeah.
like magical native people are going to kill me in my sleep.
Yeah.
And then I will finally be, and then they will slit my throat, and billions of dollars will flow out of the wound, and I will go to heaven.
It's this idea that, like, what if there was actually a consciousness to the planet that could work in sync with the communities that are in support of the sustainability of the planet? They're like, wow, fuck, those together would maybe have a chance against us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is this wish list of, like, let's create a false planet where that is the case. Because we don't have to confront the reality that like there is no, and they say this throughout the film, like Earth is dead, the people killed it,
And you don't have to think about like how does that happen through collective political action.
Yeah,
Which I think this is now a time maybe to talk about Jermaine Clement.
I think when we come back, we're gonna dig deep into Jermaine Clement, who plays an American coded character in this film for no reason that we can decide. Let's chat about it on the flip side. So there was this character played by Jermaine Clement, who, or as you said in your Google Doc, Jermaine Clement, who was a marine biologist in this film. That was throughout the second act and only the second act, like a secondary character. I think we should chat about him.
Yeah, I spent like a good portion of the film thinking he was played by Fred Armisen. I did initially think it was Jermaine Clement, but like then I was like, wait, that's Fred Armisen. But
Wow.
yeah, so
Good American accent, I guess, then. Not especially, actually.
So he works for the Whalers, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
his bit is that like they pay for his research. So even though he respects, and they're not whale, we're calling them whales, but they're called something else like Turok or something.
Whatever.
They have some name,
Yeah.
but they're like whales times 1,000. Like they're really smart.
Yeah.
Like not Free Willy smart. Like
Yeah.
Free Willy times like 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Like they are renowned composers. of
Yeah, we
music.
don't
Like,
want you to feel guilty about killing whales on Earth, but you should really feel guilty about killing these whales because they're like way smarter than normal whales.
Yeah, and like Jermaine Clement like really respects them.
Yeah.
But also
There's
helps
one scene
people
where
kill them.
There's one scene where as they're extracting the brain goop from the whale, he literally is like, look at the brain. The emotions of this whale are like 100 times more than our emotions.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, it has more emotion. They have music, philosophy, complex language, he tells us.
Yeah.
Right? So these aren't just like smart in like human or earth whale terms.
Yeah.
They're smart in like world historical terms.
Yeah.
Right? But Jermaine Clement still helps destroy them. Because
Yeah.
it funds his research.
Right.
Because it funds his research into them.
Exactly. So like there used to be English PhD whales, but his whole mission is that like we're gonna have STEM PhD whales, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we you need to have those whales.
Yeah, so like his big issue is that
Those are the strong
yeah.
whales.
Yeah, that's the thing. When he says that they have like philosophy and music, he's actually meaning like we need to defund the humanities of these whales, right?
Yep.
But like, yeah, this is like an interesting part of the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what's interesting about the Jermaine Clement character, to me, is that he is set up as if he's going to make some kind of turn on the ship.
And can I say he's probably set up this way because a huge theme in Avatar 1 was you had the Sigourney Weavers of the world who were the scientists that and we talked a lot about this in our Avatar 1 episode, that like they're sort of complacent in the eradication of the Na'vi culture. But like they have this idea like I'm doing research, so it's okay. So like to me,
they actually turn against it though.
Yes,
materially.
but I'm saying like this is now
exactly
the guy 20 years later in
yeah.
academia in 2022. I'm sorry, in the future. That this is, and how does this guy in academia operate?
So just to set up this metaphor for you,
Yeah.
right? So it's like in Avatar 1, we have Sigourney Weaver and we have the two other scientist guys. The latter two of whom are still living and still part of the resistance or whatever in Avatar 2, right? They all switch sides. Also, Michelle Rodriguez switches sides and dies.
And to clarify, these scientists that have survived and switched sides, their roles switch to being like preservers of life for the Na'vi. Like they're not conducting research anymore, presumably. Like they're actually here to
doctors,
sustain and like support the indigenous population. Whereas now you have the Jermaine Clement character in Avatar 2 in the year 2020. Sorry, in the year the future. And how does academia work out in the year the future?
Exactly. So like what's interesting about Jermaine Clement, right, is like he's on the ship, he keeps making these like quippy comments.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you guys are gonna get fucked by these whales in so many words, right?
He
never takes any action.
Yeah, he has to even more like subversive than that. He's like, well, you've got the spear. And again, everything's over enunciated because he's actually like from New Zealand. It's like, well, you've got the spear. So then later he can be like, guess you don't have the spear now.
Yeah. But like it keeps acting like he's gonna make some kind of action on the side of the whales of the Na'vi, but he never does. And he never even clearly dies. He just kind of like he clearly dies. I mean, we saw
no,
it in theaters,
I think he'll be back in a later Avatar. That's
I didn't see him die, like, but like he doesn't do anything.
No.
But he does, as his literal ship is going down, be like, haha, fuck you.
It's almost like you imagine like the Ivy League professor watching the BLM uprising in 2020 being like, wow, finally people are standing up.
Yeah.
Like that's his character,
exactly.
Being like an observer and like applauding the fact that this thing that they had nothing to do with is happening, because they're like, yeah, because those guys that I wasn't just working with my whole career, they are bad.
Absolutely. Like, and
that's
this is
what
one
his
of the ways.
character is.
This is another one of the ways where like the film starts to win me over.
Tenure track Jermaine Clement.
Yeah. Because the film never is like explicitly critiquing him. That's what I love about it. Because tenureds would never endure direct critique. They will watch this film and be like, that man did the best he could. Look at him talking about how bad it was what he was doing the entire time, right? But like, yeah, it's just like he goes down sort of with the ship, but like he tries to keep himself apart the entire time. But whereas the message of Avatar 1 is kind of like, no, you need to be like a traitor to your
You need to make the break.
Exactly.
He never makes the break.
He's just like, cheeky comment.
He never, he never like stops the harpoon from shooting at the whale.
There were all these opportunities where I was like, this guy's like, they missed the first harpoon. They're now loading the second harpoon, and this is where he's going to do something.
Maybe, Devin, this is me trying to bring you around to James Cameron and what he was doing with this film. When you think of the Academy in 2022, 2023, like this sort of character that literally is doing nothing to counteract anything, as opposed to Avatar 1, where those characters actually are like integral to the indigenous population, like able to secure their freedom. In this, all he can do is like, his character is virtue signaling the entire time, and that's the extent to which he can do. Mm-hmm. He can say like, he can make the quips, but he literally has no action that does anything to stop the atrocities from happening. And that's the extent of academia in this film, which, not to say that's how academia is these days, but this film that was released in 2022, that's how James Cameron is now imagining the Academy.
So what I think is interesting about this point about virtue signaling, right, is that other directors, like if they wanted to actually make the right-wing point about virtue signaling, they always include the counterpoint.
Yeah.
They include the person doing virtue signaling got one-upped and it didn't work.
By the quote-unquote realist.
Exactly. Yeah. But what happens in this film is he is one-upped. Well, he isn't directly one-upped. He's not, regarded. He's regarded as unimportant. And then what's actually important is people who are actually virtuous. That are not signaling it in any way. They're killing people.
He makes the quip. The captain
He does all the quips. He has 100% of the quip.
He makes the quip. The captain immediately gets killed by the whale because the whale impales his arm that then rips off in a very artistic fashion. And then you see neither of these characters ever again. So it says what he's doing is meaningless. Yeah. But also this other guy is a piece of shit who should die.
This guy is worse.
Yeah.
He should die. The fact that this guy hated this guy was correct, but he should have stabbed him in the neck 7 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's simultaneously as revolutionary as mainstream cinema gets.
Yeah.
And it's also James Cameron writing his own suicide note.
Yes, which he is. But again, I want to build you into the defense of James Cameron. The fact that in 2022, he's saying academia is so irrelevant that I'm going to dilute it to a subplot, to me is so on the mark.
Oh my God.
It's so
You're
true.
Right. God, it's a great movie.
Yeah, because
it's a great movie.
2008 when they're coming out with Avatar 1, academia is that's the Obama Democrats. They're gonna solve the problems.
Oh man.
Whereas now we're no, we don't even need to spend time on talking about
Don't even talk about this.
Everyone knows they're not gonna do anything.
The fact that Jermaine Clement's first line of the film, and I cannot remember what Jermaine Clement's character's name is. Can you bring that out for me?
Yeah.
Dr. Ian Garvin, marine biologist, which is the parody of being a marine biologist, know. It's the job that makes you feel good. That doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And I say that we both say this as people who have jobs that make you feel good that don't do anything. Mm-hmm. So to be clear, we're not trying to snark anybody. Mm-mm. We're snarking ourselves to the nth degree, as is James Cameron. But I hate how much you're convincing me that James Cameron is actually doing this in some substantive way. And if he, after he releases the 7th Avatar, actually gets shot to death in front of an ice facility, then I will fully tip the hat to him.
Yeah.
But it feels like he's to me it's he's very good at recognizing the limits of what he can do. But he won't do anything about it. But to be fair, neither will I. So yeah.
Whereas my opinion is by the end of Avatar 5, he will have successfully advocated for intergalactic communism.
That is the thing. He's boiling the frog.
That's what I'm saying.
He's boiling the frog. You heard it here first. James Cameron is boiling the frog for intergalactic communism.
All of the tenure-track professors that are like, I'm a communist.
Yeah.
They're going to die in the fire, but James Cameron is going to take us to the promised land.
Here's the thing that I will give him full credit for.
Yeah.
And I would need to think about the degree to which this has been tested by real-world circumstances.
Don't think.
But I know a lot of tenured humanities professors who have written books about
I'm so sorry.
how you should
hold up. Humanity professors that have written books? How did they find the time with all the other things they're doing?
They were so busy donating money to Kamala Harris. Do you have any idea how long that takes?
That's such an
when
erasure
you've forgotten your password
of Elizabeth Warren supporters. I won't accept it.
So you've kind of convinced me
Thank
in
you.
a weird way
Thank you.
that this film is actually doing something interesting politically.
Yeah.
And I hate that you convinced me of that because I watched this entire like this is what always happens. But we're not going to get into that because that's what people have been listening to.
Yeah.
So I think something we haven't addressed
Yeah.
is this film's relationship to the box office, right? Because
Right.
Avatar 1, everyone was like, blue people,
Yeah.
question mark, exclamation point, question mark. And then it like becomes like the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah.
And what are the early reports?
It's
With
looking
Avatar
pretty
2.
good for this film. It's
What
gonna make
the
over
fuck?
$500 million in a weekend.
This is insane.
And again, like our tickets were like $12. Like it wasn't even. You don't even have the bump of like, oh, it's a 3D film like the first one had.
Avatar 1 really benefited from
It's
that.
just that like everyone is seeing this movie.
Yeah. And it's like people are out there being like, you have to see this film in theaters, which you should
Yeah.
if you're going to see it.
And they have
You
COVID.
should see it in theaters. Everybody's got COVID. But like,
Don't wear. You can't see this film with a mask. It's just not
Yeah.
the same experience.
we saw this film. This is the thing. Like, the second...
Listen. All we need to say is when we first went in, I asked, "Is anyone wearing a mask?" During this film. And let's not tread water on how anyone answered that question. Assume the answer you will, but we had a good filming experience. So the box office, definitely.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We made a lot of fun of James Cameron on this podcast where we're like, he has these ideas where he's like,
Yeah.
what if I got, like, it starts small, right? It's like, what if I made a horror film starring a, like, Herculean man? And it's like, oh, did well. But it's like, what if that Herculean man in the meantime became the biggest box office draw in the world, and then I made him a hero? And it's like, what if that was the biggest movie of all time?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what if I made that man marry somebody? And then that's the biggest movie of all time. And then it's like, what if a boat sank once ever? And it's like, that's the biggest movie of all time. And then it's like, what if there were blue people?
No,
And it's like, that's
can't.
the biggest movie of all
Yeah.
time. And then it's like, what if I disappeared for 20 years? And then what if there were turquoise people? And it's like, what the fuck, dude? How is it working again?
Yeah.
Everyone was making fun of him. Everyone was like, Avatar 1 came out. Nobody gave a shit. made the most money of all time, but nobody gave a shit because we're all like, I didn't go see that. I saw it. I paid the fucking ticket price, You know, did again. We went. What the fuck are we doing?
Is you have people who want reality to not be what it is. And I think if we can overcome those limitations of our identities, we can understand that James Cameron, he's not going to lead us into the promised land because he knows that is not reality. He will simply make us aware of the inexistence of that promised land and maybe make us feel bad about the path upon which we have chosen.
Yeah.
But it will be in such a way that is significantly better than, again, the test tube baby of an Oscar award-winning director in Hollywood that makes an Oscar award-winning director child that, only knows how to make the films that get Oscars, but doesn't know how to actually speak to people who don't live in Hollywood, USA.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what to do with this. There are these two facts, which they are like...
I'm sorry to have conflicted you in this way, because I feel like going into this episode, you did not feel conflicted.
I was so confident, but this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is my thing, where like, if I like something going in, it's just like, by the end of the week, it sucks ass.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I watched this whole thing and I was like, this is bad. And now I'm like,
yeah.
And there's nothing in it. It's a bad movie. It's not good to watch. But
my going into, again, I want to hear your critique, but the brilliance again of James Cameron is anything you say, anyone will hear you saying this like, oh, this movie was bad, and be like, well, this guy is an asshole.
Yeah. No, I've been
lose.
Fucked.
He can't lose
for life.
Yeah.
There are people lining up outside my house in Philadelphia right now. You know? And it's
anyways, so let's again keep that in mind. But what is your sort of summation of the film, Devin?
So like, I can't think of a better Hollywood didn't have to have. There is nothing about the nature of Hollywood that its contradictions had to be perfectly encapsulated within one person.
Yeah.
But it is our fortune that they were. And that person is James Cameron.
And it's incredible because like the last film he made was in 2009. You think like, wow, since then, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like
doesn't give a shit.
You think
doesn't give a shit.
You think if you only live in that little bubble, they're like, oh wow, look at the innovations that have been made about how Hollywood operates. James Cameron like ascends in a plane beyond that limited perspective. And it's in such a way that while he both operates within it, because of course Avatar 2 is 2 of 5 within the Disney, paradigm. But he also operates beyond it in a way that is very hard to nail down, but like you're aware of it if you are trying to be aware of it. But again, like it doesn't exceed beyond the world in which we live.
Yeah.
It simply accepts it, but like makes you feel bad about the reality of how bad it is.
And that's the thing, is it doesn't feel, the films of James Cameron, he took fucking 20 years off. It doesn't feel bad about that.
No.
It doesn't feel like I owe you something. It doesn't feel anything. It doesn't feel the churn of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? It's like, you've been waiting for me. Here's what I have to say. And it's like, if you're going to take this film seriously, like, you should, when you're waiting in line in the Wawa and the cop in front of you has his gun and it's right there, you should reach for it.
Yeah.
Like, and again, James Cameron would also never do that.
No.
But that is what makes him the perfect Hollywood filmmaker. Because he's like, I would never do that, that I am going to spend $1 billion and I'm going to make $7 billion making a film about how you should do that.
And Disney will approve it and release it.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the whole thing.
He knows how to walk the line of making Disney approve the film he made that does implicitly say those things.
Yeah, and it's like that feeling of like you're holding your Boston cream donut and your Fritos and your like receipt for your hoagie, which is obviously being made at the hoagie station, so like you don't have it yet, and like you're like Big Cat all in one hand because your other hand you're texting, and then the guy's like, "What do you need?" And you're like,
yep.
But that's James Cameron.
And that's what I've tried to hopefully elucidate this episode, is that there is no other figure like him that I can think of that currently exists that could walk that line.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is not typically, when people talk about like the magic of James Cameron, that's not what they typically land on.
Yeah.
But I feel like we are landing on that reality that he operates in this world between worlds where he is able to do that thing that, if you ignore the reality of our lived experiences, you could be like, wow, that's so critical and like really speaks to the urgency of the situation. But also you read it through the lens of this being a Disney film in 2022.
Yeah.
And you can also see like, oh, but it's almost an nihilistic perspective of like, despite me telling you what stopping this would entail, you all know we are all going to die. Like, this is it. Like, this is the end.
Yeah.
This is like, let me tell you what it would take, and let me also tell you the reality of like what will happen.
And I know you're not going to do it because I know you're a coward and I'm a coward.
Okay, go on.
But I'm James Cameron right now.
Okay.
I've made billions of dollars.
Yeah, you have.
And all I can do is tell you.
Damn, the dog is getting restless.
Yeah, all I can do is tell you to not be a coward.
Yeah.
Like, that is, and I'm like, I could at any point not be a coward, but I have decided the best thing I can do is transmit this message because no one is ever going to have. I am this unique product of capitalism.
Yeah.
Where I'm this guy that exists for one generation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say my message as loud as I can. And it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But it has to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, no one who is a director past James Cameron could ever say this message. But his benefit to this sinking ship, let's just say the Titanic, is that he will at least enunciate that we are on a sinking ship in an honesty that no one else will admit.
Yeah.
So that is Avatar 2, The Way of Water. It never starts and it never ends.
It has no beginning.
Oh, shit.
And it has no end.
I think when they first said that, I leaned over to you and said, like, well, the latter is true.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here at You're Tall, But I'm Standing in Front of You. I am Ethan. My co-host is Devin. You can follow me at Mathisipi on Twitter. You can follow Devin at Stale Cooper. You can follow our podcast at Your Tall Pod on Twitter before it's done. And we look forward to seeing any recommendations you have for future episodes. It won't mean anything because we have pretty much the next 6 months mapped out, but we respect your input. You're tall, but I am standing in front of you. I'm gonna cut you off mid thing.